Jonah and the Great Fish. Have you ever tried to run away from something you knew you were supposed to do? One man in the Bible tried. His name was Jonah. And his story includes a raging storm, terrified sailors, and a giant fish. One day, God spoke to Jonah and gave him a very important mission. Jonah, God said, "Go to the great city of Nineveh and warn the people to stop doing hurtful things and change their ways." Nineveh was a huge and powerful city, but the people there had done many wrong things. God wanted to give them a chance to change. Jonah didn't like this mission. He didn't think Nineveh's sins deserved any mercy, but instead of obeying God, Jonah decided to run away. He went down to the port city of Joppa and found a ship sailing far away in the opposite direction. Jonah paid the fare and climbed aboard. Soon the ship sailed out into the open sea. At first, the water was beautiful and calm, but suddenly the wind began to roar. Dark clouds filled the sky. The waves grew larger and larger. God had sent a powerful storm, and the ship rocked violently in the crashing waves. The sailors were terrified. They threw cargo overboard to make the ship lighter. Each sailor prayed desperately for help. But while the sailors struggled in fear, Jonah had gone below deck and fallen into a deep sleep. The captain found him and shouted, "How can you sleep during such a terrible storm? Get up and pray." Meanwhile, the sailors tried to figure out why this storm had come upon them. So they cast lots to discover who was responsible for the storm. And the lot fell on Jonah. The sailors turned to him and asked, "Who are you? What have you done?" Jonah answered honestly, "I am a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God who made the sea and the land. But instead of listening and obeying him, I chose to run away." They asked Jonah, "What should we do to stop this storm?" Jonah knew the answer. "Throw me into the sea," he said quietly. "Then the storm will stop." The sailors rowed with all their strength toward land, but the storm only grew stronger. The wind roared louder, and the waves crashed higher. At last, they cried out to God for mercy. Then, they lowered Jonah into the raging sea. The moment Jonah touched the water, the storm stopped. The sea became completely calm. As the waters grew quiet, Jonah began sinking deeper and deeper into the dark ocean. Soon, he disappeared beneath the waves. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, God sent a giant fish and swallowed Jonah whole. Inside the belly of the fish, it was dark, quiet, and lonely. Jonah stayed there for 3 days and 3 nights. During that time, Jonah prayed. He realized he had been wrong to run away from God. He asked God to forgive him, and he promised that he would obey. God heard Jonah's prayer and saw that his heart had changed. Then God commanded the great fish to swim toward land. When the giant fish reached the shore, it opened its mouth and spit Jonah safely onto the land. Jonah slowly stood up on the shore, dripping with seawater. Then God spoke to Jonah again. "Go to Nineveh and deliver my message." This time, Jonah obeyed. He traveled to the great city of Nineveh. When he arrived, he walked through the streets delivering God's message to the people. "Turn away from the wrong things you are doing and change your ways." Something surprising happened. The people listened to God's message. Everyone in Nineveh, including the smallest children, listened to God's message. Even their king prayed and asked God for forgiveness. When God saw their hearts had changed, he showed them mercy, and the city was saved. Jonah learned something important that day. He learned that you cannot run away from God. God's mercy is greater than we sometimes understand, and his forgiveness is for everyone who turns back to him. And that is the story of Jonah and the great fish, a reminder that God is patient, merciful, and always ready to forgive.